Directly after the email where the guy talked shit about Melbourne, came an email from a guy in Melbourne. And it's this email. It's Nathaniel. That's his name. From Melbourne. It's about street shitting. All right. You're coming to the right place.
Okay. All right.
Last week, when you mentioned, quote, other things besides printers being left by the curb in San Francisco, I was sure you were going to mention human feces.
It's probably implied.
No one notices that anymore. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely.
Yes, it just goes without saying.
You live here, Drew. How much human feces do you see on a daily basis?
We're going to address that question. Right. Even as an Australian, I've heard that this is quite a problem there, putting you in the company of rural China or India. Some guy even made a map, and he links to that now famous map that charts in somewhat real time the distribution of poop.
Really?
Oh, you haven't heard about that?
I've not seen this.
Dude, yeah. It was a few months ago. Somebody, this link was kind of making the rounds on Twitter. Yes, you can go to this map and see, I don't know if it's the sanitation department or what city group
poop
that keeps track of this stuff. But
map.
Yeah, you can see which areas of the city are the most poopy. Anyway. A few years ago, on a holiday to the U.S., my wife and I went out for a nice dinner in your city. As she stepped out of the rental car, she made a sound of annoyed disgust and said, "I just stepped in poop." There was a brief pause, and then she said in a much more panicked voice, "It's human. Oh, my God, I think it's human." She started to cry a little. Questions?
Welcome to San Francisco, home of the Super Bowl.
Pretty much.
And Rice-A-Roni.
And street poop. Number one, is street shitting really that much of a problem there? Number two, if so, with your local knowledge, how likely is it that this incident involved human waste? We were parked on the street somewhere near State Bird Provisions. I don't know where that is. Number three, do you think you could reliably tell the difference between human and dog shit just by look and feel?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Smell.
Yes.
As well. Yes.
Number four, is stepping in human shit really that much worse than stepping in dog shit? Was my wife's reaction justified?
It's more rare, so I understand why. I mean, the thought of a person taking a shit on the street is it's sad as a society that this is something that happens.
Sure. I don't mean to make light of it necessarily.
Yeah, it shouldn't. People should have a fucking quiet place to take a shit.
Sure.
Can we at least start there?
Yeah.
Upgrade to beds and homes and stuff like that. Yes, there's a fair amount of homeless people in San Francisco, and the Super Bowl was another kind of bright light being shown on some of that stuff.
Yes,
as they deliberately moved homeless people away from Super Bowl City,
it's packed them up and bust them to. My understanding is the place was where they dumped them was literally under an overpass, which is just could not put a more perfect bow on that ridiculous situation.
Yeah, it's enough to make me want to go start shitting on the street, to be honest. And there's a certain aspect that wants to execute a dirty protest. And also,
all that said, it is a daily hazard here.
Do you see it every day?
If you spend much time walking around on the sidewalks, I would say I see it just about every day walking around downtown.
Wow, I guess I'm not looking, but
walking from Market up here, you will see. Yes, it's cleaned up. Somebody is doing some work. But it's more like traces of it.
Sidewalks are constantly damp with power wash.
Yeah.
So
yes, that is true.
But you can definitely tell.
Yes, it's not that hard to tell the difference.
I once walked into the Whiskey Media offices.
Oh no, I was going to tell the story. But
okay,
go for it. No, you go ahead.
And then saw our business guy.
Yep.
Throwing away his shoes.
Yep. I remember that.
What you doing? I just stepped in human feces.
Yep. He just threw his shoes in the trash.
Yes.
And somehow went out and got more.
How do you do that? This was a pre-Amazon Now.
I have no idea. I don't know what he did. Maybe he drove to the store in his socks. I don't know.
Could be.
He had to walk on the street in his socks then.
This map looks accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, I've looked at it before, and it definitely checks out.
Yep.
I remember that.
Tenderloin, Market, Mission.
I remember that morning and being surprised at the sight of him throwing his shoes away and thinking to myself, I don't actually know what I would do in that situation.
Yeah.
Initially it struck me as a very extreme thing to do. It's why wouldn't you just wash the shoes? But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, maybe he's right.
Let's poop on that.
Maybe you should just toss them. I don't know.
Well, that office didn't really have a great spot to where you would wash your shoes. Like,
Yeah,
I don't,
that's true.
you know, in
That's true.
the immediate right then and there.
Like you could try for some grass, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Like throwing away shoes in a situation like that would be an absolute last resort, unless it got on anywhere other than the bottoms of the shoes.
Yeah.
You know, if you stepped on it and it squirted up in a way that it got on
over the side.
the canvas of your shoe or on the side, at some point you're like, okay, this is a bigger cleanup job than I'm.
Seem to recall them being nice shoes. Also.
Yeah. Yeah. He would have been wearing nice shoes for sure.
Business guy.
San Francisco, what a place.
Yeah.
It's like paradise on earth.
You should visit.
Everyone should move here. It's affordable.
Let's move on to another email. Cole from Orlando.